Good morning, Soberinos, and welcome to this week's Friday Fix. Today, I want to give you a dose of inspiration from an amazing man called Paulho Coelho, who wrote the book The Alchemist. If you haven't already read The Alchemist, I recommend it heartily. It's one of those books, if you haven't already read it, you need to be getting on your shoes and running down to the shops now to buy a copy, or running your fingers over the keyboard to order yourself a copy from Amazon or wherever. The Alchemist is a really powerful read. It's inspiring, it's magical, it's transformational. He really is an amazing, I don't know whether you would describe him or whether he describes himself as a philosopher. But it's a magical story, and almost every line in that book is worthy of quotation marks on its own. But I'm going to share with you today a quote from Paulho, and I've got it here in front of me on my laptop because I want to get it right. And I read this quote this morning and it really resonated with me, and I thought, actually, this is so true, so true, so valid, and so important that I want to share it with you. So the quote goes like this: to become really good at anything, you have to practice and repeat until the technique becomes intuitive. So to be really good at anything, you have to practice and repeat until the technique becomes intuitive. Now, the reason I love this quote is because of its applicability to just about anything in life that you want to achieve. If you are learning a new skill, if you are learning to speak a new language, if you are learning to play a musical instrument, if you're learning to dance, if you're learning a new sport, if you're learning to communicate better with the people around you, if you are learning to change a habit, if you are learning to stop drinking, if you are learning to live your life happily and confidently sober, all of these things are skills that you have to acquire. And you acquire new skills by practicing and by repetition. And this is something I mention a lot in the guidance program. This is something I mention a lot in some of my videos and my blogs, is the importance of recognizing that learning to live your life sober is just like learning any new skill. It's going to take time, it's going to take practice, and it's going to take repetition. There are all sorts of quotes out there online about learning new skills. There's all sorts of research and studies that claim that there's a certain number of repetitions that have to be done, like 10,000 or 100,000 repetitions of something before it becomes an automatic intuitive habit or skill. Now, I don't know the veracity of any of these claims. I don't know the truth of the research and the evidence base behind any of these claims. But the message behind those claims rings true, in that the more you repeat something, the more it becomes automatic. And it's just the same for learning to live your life sober as it is for learning a new instrument or learning a language or any other new skill that you want to acquire. Repetition and practice is the key to getting it right. And if you use the learning a musical instrument as a comparison, as an analogy, you might, for instance, learn the basic scale of C, how to do the scale of C, for instance, on the piano. Let's say you're learning how to play the piano. You might start with the basic key of C, and so you're doing your scale in C, up and down the scale, up and down the scale, up and down the scale. It's really boring, it's really repetitive, but you're learning the basics. You might at the same time be learning how to play your first little tune. Maybe it's Twinkle, twinkle, little star, or something simple, something nursery rhymish that you're learning to play. You might practice the scale of C so often that eventually it becomes automatic and you can do it without thinking. And at the same time, you might still be struggling with one of the early tunes that you're learning to play. But the scale of C has become automatic. So now you can turn your attention to the tune, the melody that you're learning to play. And by practicing that melody over and over and over again, by making mistakes, by getting it wrong, by going over the bits that you struggled with, you finally get it right and it becomes automatic. Or as Paulho Coelho says, it becomes intuitive. And then as you're learning that melody and you're getting it right and it's becoming automatic and intuitive, maybe you're learning the scale of D at the same time, and the scale of D is a bit of a conscious struggle. You haven't quite got it right yet, so you need to practice, you need to repeat, you need to go over the bits you're struggling with, practice and repeat, and so on and so on. So each time you master one aspect of the thing you're trying to learn, there might be other aspects of the thing you're trying to learn that are a bit of a stumbling block, a bit of a struggle that you still need to keep purposefully and consciously concentrating on before they become automatic, before they become intuitive. And it's exactly the same with learning how to live your life sober. You might discover that after a few weeks of practicing Friday evenings, Saturday evenings at home alone, you can actually do them relatively easily without drinking. These are situations that you've practiced often enough that you can do them without thinking. But there might be other situations which you haven't yet practiced enough and repeated enough that are more of a struggle for you. So for instance, going to your first wedding and doing it sober, or going to a work do or a work event sober, going to a family gathering sober, going to a barbecue in the sun sober. It might be that you've mastered certain elements of living your life sober, but there are other elements that need more practice. But the more you practice them, the more you repeat those weddings sober, those parties, those outings, those special events sober, the more automatic and intuitive they become. So it's just like learning any new skill. The more you practice these things, the more you make mistakes, the more you learn from those mistakes and move on from those mistakes and practice again and do things differently next time, the more intuitive, easy and automatic living your life sober becomes. So let me know how that quote resonates with you. I think it's a beautiful quote, and if I can find a way of doing it, I'll leave it on the screen for you so you can have a look, or I'll post it in the comments below so you can see it. And let me know what has become intuitive and easy for you sober, and what aspects of living your life sober do you still feel that you've got to practice and repeat some more before you've mastered them? Let me know in the comments below. I'll look forward to catching up with you in tomorrow's Saturday share, but in the meantime, let's go get sober together. Bye.